Coming up, we had a chance to ride Skull Island, Reign of Kong, and we are very, very excited to tell you all of our thoughts about it. So live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Universal edition of The Diz Unplugged. This is The Diz Unplugged, Universal Edition, episode 89. The Diz Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Universal vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. I, of course, am your host with the most, Craig Williams. Yes, that's my name in case you forgot. Also joining me today, on my right, if it matters, what side? I don't know. Rhino Clavin.
Hello.
Yes. Then in the back, on the controls, the only other person besides the two people at the table who can physically run our controls at this current time, Oliver Green.
At this current time, you say it like I'm going to get replaced soon.
No, I mean, you never know. What if someone else wants to learn? What if Teresa walks in tomorrow and says, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm ready for a career change. I want to become engineer of a show.
I would enjoy that very much so. I'd love to see Teresa run the controls.
Yeah, no, she would find a way to screw it up. Love you, Teresa. You don't watch. No one watches this. Wow, guys.
She did watch us that one time. She said the F word in the chat room.
Yeah, she did. That was a day. That was a day. Guys, I am very excited for this episode. Obviously, we've been talking about Skull Island, Reign of Kong, quite a bit now, leading up to its grand opening, which right now it's up in the air, so I guess I'll get a little bit of this housekeeping in here due to the events that did happen in Orlando this past weekend. A lot of the theme parks, and by a lot I'm referring specifically to Walt Disney World and Universal, all had press events set up for some of the new offerings coming in literally this week, like the Frozen ride over at Disney and the new Star Wars fireworks, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. We were supposed to get looks at that as well as Skull Island next week, but all of those events have been canceled due to the respect of everyone affected by the tragedy. So right now I have zero idea when Skull Island anymore is going to open to the general public, just because I figured it was going to happen right after this event. Yeah. But the event's not happening now, so it beats me when it's actually going to end up being officially open. But, of course, I think we mentioned it last week, or we said last week, I believe, that team members had been through soft openings, and maybe it wasn't already open for other people. This, that, the other. It doesn't matter. All that matters is it has been soft opening basically every single day since, I want to say, last Wednesday, and it will probably continue to be that way as long as everything's moving well up until it is officially announced that there will be a grand opening date for it. So we went yesterday and finally decided that we would wait 60 minutes for it, and got on.
Like your housekeeping went away.
Well, I'm still explaining.
Oh,
I'm still explaining this.
Okay.
You'd be cool.
Okay.
So we're gonna have our. I don't know how we're gonna do this. If it's gonna be spoiler free or if it's gonna be. I don't know. It's not really that much to spoil. My opinion,
it's very easy for me to say something like you can't expect me to not to try and censor myself because we'll say something that will be a spoiler. I will just put it out there.
I will say we are going to show some photos of the queue. We're going to show some photos of the queue. We're not going to show video from the queue yet, not until it's officially open, out of respect for anyone who wants to see it. And there's no filming or video on, or photos or video on the ride. So for that reason, we're not able to actually show you any of it. So it would just be verbal spoiling, and that, of course, doesn't matter. So that is coming up in just a little bit, but I think we would be
Remiss.
What's that?
Remiss?
Yeah, I don't know the proper way to use that phrase, so that's why I was going to find the way around it. But I feel like it has to be mentioned here because, if you haven't seen the Tuesday edition of the Diz Unplugged Disney World show, that jumped off topic for all of it and focused more on how our team has been affected by the Orlando shootings that happened at Pulse on Saturday night. And so if you really want to get into the nitty gritty on how our team did feel about that, Universal Disney World, all of us who were there, please go and watch that show. But for this one specifically, we have to mention, of course, right off the bat, Luis Vielma, who was the team member working at Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, who was one of the victims at the Pulse nightclub shooting. There was one other victim to Xavier Serrano, I believe is the correct pronunciation of that. And he, I guess, worked for the Superstar Parade. I don't know if he was currently working there, if it was just at one point in time.
Yeah.
But Luis was still an active team member at Forbidden Journey, loved by everyone, and really the internet took by storm whenever news got out about his passing away, to the point that even J.K. Rowling sent out a tweet about
with his
it.
Photo, yeah.
So it really had a wide impact. Yeah, she had her tweet that my goodness, I had it pulled up here to get the exact wording on it, but I already lost it at that
about
point.
Not being able to stop crying. I know that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the gist of it, and just Luis Vielma worked on the Harry Potter ride at Universal. He was 22 years old. I can't stop crying, and retweeted 51,000 times, which is just massive. So that pushed it out even further around the world, and it's anyone who knew him just is extremely disheartened by it, and definitely at Universal, it has struck everyone that works at Universal. It has affected every single one of them. It even me, to the point, I've talked about it many times on this show. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey is my original home at Universal. That's the one that pulled me in, and we talked about it on one episode before, where I believe that Universal, working at attraction, you are more of a family than over at Disney. Not that Disney doesn't associate that way,
right? But
you all had so much pride for the movie or the whatever your ride was based on, and then everyone with you. It was, we basically called Hogwarts High, because that's what it was. It was a high school where people graduated, moved out, just like Hogwarts. New people would come in, but everyone always had that bond that you put on that itchy, hot sweater vest and sweat just all over yourselves in the summer. And so, it has just been amazing, the outreach that people have done, the vigils that they've had outside Forbidden Journey, everyone raising their wands, and it's it's extremely sad. In Universal, from everything I've heard about him from friends and other friends, Universal's lost a very great team member that is going to be, you can't replace him. From everything I've heard, and it's incredibly sad. It's incredibly sad. So if you're going to Forbidden Journey anytime in the coming months, just everyone there is deeply affected by it. So, just show them compassion, give them a hug. I know they'll appreciate it. It's been happening all the time since everything went down. So just keep that in mind the next time you're there. So, it's, it is great to see, not just on Twitter, like that happened, that blew up all over the place, but also in our community as well. Everything has just come together. Everyone is uniting in the strongest of fashions. President Obama and Vice President Joe Biden just landed in Orlando minutes before we started the show, so we can't finish that off. But apparently, from what we're hearing, even Marco Rubio got off the plane with them and got Governor Rick Scott was there to meet them at the airport too. So everyone's just coming together. The president's coming here to show his support for us. Crossing party lines, playing nice with each other, which doesn't happen all the time in politics. Yeah. It's really, it's sad that it takes an event like this to happen to bring everyone together. But as we've kind of said on the Tuesday show, as long as we all just don't brush this under the rug and we come together and then we actually create a form of it, not a form of attack, but a plan of action to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. That's all that matters the most. So
turn it into a force for good.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we just want to say thank you to everybody that sent in emails and comments on the show on Tuesday and Twitter and wherever else. I know I appreciate it. It's very touching, to have people that we've never met to reach out because they care, and it means a lot. And I have not responded to really any of it yet, but I just want people to know that I'm seeing it, and it's very touching. So I will get to it eventually. I'm just not ready to kind of sink into that just yet. But if as many people who are sending us emails and reaching out to us want to maybe help in any way they can, there's a lot of things going on, not just here. I know everywhere around the country, and Craig and myself are going to do a charity run next weekend here in Lake Mary. That all the
5K.
that all the proceeds are going to go to the what is it called? One Orlando Fund. United Orlando.
It's one of the.
It's
many.
One of the couple because there's been many set up, but I know they're doing those. I saw there's one in somewhere in Pennsylvania. There's some. They're all over. So do find an activity and do that because you can raise awareness. You can go onto the GoFundMe page and
which of course
whatever.
We'll have if you haven't been on the homepage of the Diz, there's plenty of links to get you to the official GoFundMe page. That everyone is supporting as well as us, and we will have it in the link to the show notes too, just so you can find it there. But there's plenty of ways to get out there and help support and join all of this.
And it doesn't take that long either. You can do if it's you're a busy person. I understand it could just be a couple clicks away. As easy it is to watch this show, you can change somebody's survivor's life or leave a footprint for those who aren't here. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So. Is there any other housekeeping besides that? Anything? Anyone?
Oh, I'm not gonna do a Diz Pop show on Friday. Not that I think anybody who watches this show is. I don't know if it's a different audience. I'm assuming it's the same audience. I don't know who it is. So I'm not gonna do a video one. I'm just not ready yet. And but I think Craig and I are gonna review a movie though.
Yes.
I think we're gonna go out there in public.
Finding Dory.
Allow us. Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to go check that out and hopefully have a review up of that instead.
Yeah, and like normal, we'll be saying that we're going to get a review up on Friday, so it'll be there on Sunday.
Yeah, by the earliest. Yeah.
Maybe. I was like to sleep in on Sundays.
Monday night.
Not too early.
Yeah.
Not too early. Got to get in a little bit of Back to the Future, as always. So, I don't have... I thought I had something else to add, and this is why I should probably write things down. In other housekeeping, I just wanted to say that we mentioned that next week our media event's canceled. So before that was going to be a pre-recorded show. That will no longer be the case. That show will go out live, and we also did our content for that last week too, or past night too. We
productive.
Yeah, next week we'll have a dining review of Three Broomsticks with the input from a true British person. Yeah. So that's going to be one to look forward to next week. So we'll have that live. But I do want to say the week after that, I will be taking one of my first real vacations where I don't have to work at all.
It's crazy.
In 2 weeks from now, I'll be going out to California with my dad. So we won't be having a show that week. We might pre-record something, but now that we don't have all these media events and stuff coming out, I don't know how that's going to affect our schedule and whether we'll be able to get something in. But the bigger part of it is then on the next week after that, the first show we have in July, we will be kicking off our looks now, our more in-depth looks at what we love and hate about the Universal Orlando resorts, the hotels on property. And we're going to be kicking it off with the Royal Pacific.
All the way from the South Pacific.
All the way from South Pacific. So
I had to think about it for a second.
I'm pumped for it. We had a good couple days we spent over on property. Got to experience the new rooms, the Jurassic Park Kids Suite, the Luau, all the restaurants, to the point where we were going to throw up if we had any more of it.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to get that out there. So look for that the first week of July. We will be talking about what we love and hate about the hotel. Not hate. Hate's a strong word. What we like and dislike.
Yeah.
That's nicer.
That's good.
And then the next week after that, we'll be doing a hard focus just on the restaurants there and our opinions on all of them. So
there's quite a few.
Yeah.
Opinions and restaurants.
I know. Opinions, restaurants, and one other aspect of it, too. I'm not going to say it.
Dessert.
Opinions are like blank holes.
Oh.
No, I'm not calling us a bunch of those, but kind of. So, without further... Sorry.
What do you even... what was that even
I was doing hand movements and I hit the volume, so it was replaying our sound from this video.
Oh.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
Everything's fine, folk. It's going to be okay. So, without further ado, let's jump into Skull Island Reign of Kong, the most anticipated attraction opening at Universal Orlando this year, probably because it's the only attraction opening at Universal Orlando this year. And we got the chance to ride it. Yeah. Yeah, it is because
Jimmy Fallon's not until next year. Right?
Jimmy Fallon and Fast and Furious aren't until next year. Technically, Hulk's already there. It's just reopening with a new ride track, and so the most anticipated attraction at Universal Orlando, specifically Islands of Adventure, opening up this year. And I want to go in a little bit further on what we talked about before in terms of the photos and videos. First off, I'm not going to call out names of any other sites or anything. You guys follow more than just us. You follow different people. There is a ride through of Skull Island Reign of Kong out there on the internet. However, in the queue, we heard it with our own ears yesterday. They actually say over it, please no photos and videos.
Yeah, then you're saying in the queue, but there's like signs posted. They say it they say it as you go in. They tell you right when you're walking up to the cart. When you're in the cart, the animatronic tells you they say it repeatedly.
Yes, no photos or videos on the ride. So you guys, if you want to watch it, that's your call. You're allowed to do that. Unless they lift the restriction for a media thing where we're allowed to, we will not be ever posting any photos or videos on the ride because we follow the rules they ask us to do. So,
one thing I'd say about that is, yes, it's out there, and just don't watch it because it doesn't do it justice. On-ride videos rarely do the actual ride
especially
itself
a 3D
full
ride,
justice. Yeah, this is a 3D attraction that does involve screens and video projection, and it's unless you're actually there, you're not going to even get an idea of what it even feels like. So
don't look at it and be like, what?
Yeah, I mean, if you. I can understand why you'd want to watch it, but if you think you're going to experience this sometime within the next 18 months, don't ruin it for yourself. Just wait. It'll be worth the wait, I promise.
Yeah. So, and I have got to actually say, it's one of those things. As you just said, it doesn't do it justice. 3D on a ride never does it justice. However, we'll talk about it whenever we get there, but there is one animatronic in particular that is the most impressive part of the ride, and
I'm not even sure which one you're going to say.
I don't know which one you're thinking of, so I don't even know either. But But let's talk about the meat and bones. Obviously, this ride has just come up so quickly from the time they broke ground to the time that it's opening now. Another marvel in a way of how Universal is able to get things done so incredibly fast.
Well,
and
nothing about it feels fast.
No.
Nothing about when you walk through, you'll never think, oh, they did this in a year.
Yeah.
Or was it even a year?
It's been about 2 years now.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been about 2 years.
It's been about 2 years.
Yeah.
Since everything really started. Yeah.
I thought I worked here when they cleared the land. And we were like debating whether it was going to be Jurassic
World.
World.
They were doing more stuff back that you couldn't see.
Oh, okay.
They were doing stuff behind the scenes that was not visible to guests.
Well,
get ready for that.
They did a good job with keeping it under wraps.
Yeah. It was that back and forth for a little while of, is it going to be Kong? Is it going to be Jurassic Park related? Then it was pretty quickly all agreed on that it was going to be Kong. And
we were on that cruise and they said it by accident, right? Was it they said that one by accident, or did they say the Fast and the Furious by accident?
The Fast and the Furious was Michelle Rodriguez. It was on. They released the one
land and sea thing.
They released the one report, and they said no. It was just a normal earnings call, and they were like,
said it so casually.
We've got a bunch of new stuff coming up. We have the Kong attraction in Universal Orlando, and at that point, it hadn't been officially announced yet. Then, while we were on that land sea cruise, that was last year. That's whenever they officially. Announced everything in it. Gosh, you think we would do our fact checking before we come on here and start talking about stuff like this? I like it this way.
Say it confident enough, and people will believe it to be fact.
So, as we've talked about before, it's very strange in a way because I don't care what Universal says. This King Kong attraction takes place in the realm of Peter Jackson's King Kong. 150%. No, it is not a recreation of the 2005 King Kong movie, but it is 100% Peter Jackson's King Kong in every way, shape, and form.
It's that
for
year,
the design.
It's that thing,
it's almost like there's just this strange side plot that was also happening at the exact same time as the other plot. It's
like we got there before the characters from Peter Jackson's film got there. So like Kong is there.
Yeah. But overall, I want to be not super. I don't want to say it in this way, but I've been so excited for this attraction, building up to actually getting the chance to ride it, and before we even got on it, but then also whenever I walked on it. I don't know what I'm trying to say with that. This, to me, is Universal's Indiana Jones adventure.
Yeah.
In every way, shape, and form. We'll start with the queue. The exterior queue of the attraction.
Yeah.
It's, even kind of everything. The entire outside. So... in Indiana Jones Adventure in Disneyland, if you've ever seen that, it's like this outside campsite looking area that you're looking at a temple. Yeah. And that's where everyone's funneling into. This, you have the giant temple that's on Skull Island that cars are getting ready to go through the gate to drive into. Mm-hmm. But the initial part of the queue is you're walking through these kind of ruins where all these expeditions have set up the Eighth Wonder expeditions, and it's playing the good old time 40s music and or 20s music, I guess it would be. I don't know 30s, what years, 30s. It's some type of music from that era that's very like, hello my baby, hello my honey, hello my ragtime gal.
And there's your singing segment of the show.
I'm sorry that it had to be that song, but it is a song nonetheless. And I was just enamored with this part. It was just all the skulls hidden in all the little nooks and crannies.
Yeah, a lot of skulls.
Yeah,
a lot of skulls
everywhere.
I mean, Skull Island. Yeah,
it
lived up to that name.
Yeah, no, it lived up to that name. But I loved the music that was playing during this. It was kind of like a mixture of, you could hear kind of like adventurous music, almost a little bit menacing in the exterior part of Skull Island area, but then on the inside, like I said, you had this 30s music, and there'd be all these radio interruptions that would come in as you were walking around. And I believe they were talking almost about that kind of a crossover with that Aaron Wells Myth Explorer or whatever. I could have swore I heard that name being used.
I don't know what that is.
You know that Myth Explorer web series that they set up?
Oh, yeah.
Ahead of time?
Yeah.
I
I thought you meant Orson Welles, and that's why I was...
No. Yes, Orson Welles.
He was like, The War of the Worlds?
He was doing a reading of War of the Worlds, and...
Just get you in the sci-fi mood.
Yes, get you in the sci-fi mood for this. So, mad props. God, that was douchey.
The mad props part?
Mad props to the exterior portion of
Mad
the queue.
props, bruh.
And then you get inside, and then you're all of a sudden in this next temple area, and still going along with that Indiana Jones vibe.
Yeah.
Where these are old...
This is a cool room.
This feels like you're on the set of Temple of Doom. This, honestly, I was absolutely enamored with this room. I loved it.
Yeah, it's been pushed around all over the internets. The witch, the witch room. It is just, this is right there where we didn't even have to get on the ride. We could have left the queue at that point.
Yeah.
And I was finished.
The animatronic was great.
There she is.
It wasn't even just the animatronic. First, it was like, the lighting in the room and how they would have
flickers.
Yeah.
And she's chanting, and then there's like there's a music playing, and not even music,
and it's building up.
It's the voices, like in the sorry, I keep moving this microphone. 2001: A Space Odyssey, when they find the pillar for the first time, and that song, that very, very famous, like, ooh, like that's what it reminded me of. That moment where it just, and you don't even realize that it started creeping in, and then it just becomes overwhelming.
And that's kind of like what Oliver was saying in terms of Temple of Doom, right before they start pulling hearts out.
Yeah,
it's that build up. It's like in Kong, right before, whenever they start lifting Andaro up and getting her into her position to be taken by Kong. It's like all that build up, and the lights start flickering, it gets dark. There's this great steam effect behind the eyes of the skeletons carved into the skulls carved into the wall, and she's still chanting, and every once in a while in her chants that are just some made up gibberish language, you'll hear the word Kong, and this was literally, it's hard to really put it into perspective, because we do have Forbidden Journey and we have Gringotts that are two fantastic cues, but just this room alone, it really got to me.
Cues.
I
think it's on par with those. This room definitely sets it right up. It wasn't anything less than it.
Yeah.
See, for me, I'd say that I actually prefer this. I'd go as far as to say this is my favorite queue, because it's not even really. I suppose it's a pre-show, but it's not really. It's still the queue. Yeah. This is the best queue I've ever stood in, because nothing has ever got me more fired up to go on an attraction than this line. The queue itself is such an experience. I absolutely loved it. I really did.
No, and
you know what's sad?
And it doesn't.
I should say this, like, because you're saying like it's a pre-show. You compare it to like a pre-show or something like that. Something that fires you up. People need to understand that, like, great attractions, the storytelling begins before you even step foot into the attraction. It starts from the first look when you lay your eyes on the thing, and I'll say that this ride does that through and through. It's like what Craig said, like he immediately knew the tone, but just by stepping in, and then we're unfolding the story as we go, and so by the time we get into that room, we're like, oh, we found the natives. And now we're learning the native story. We're learning without learning. You know what I mean? Because it's like what you said. We don't understand the language, but it's scary. It makes you feel like you are exploring that unknown.
And I think this is done so well, because if you look at it in comparison to something like The Mummy, I've gone to Universal with friends that have been annual pass holders, and only on like the busiest days when I've forced them to wait in line have they understood the actual storyline of the attraction.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, with Kong, they've kind of figured it out, because even on the quietest days when you just walk through and blast through the line, you're still going to pick up on the storyline of this. Yeah. It's been done in such a way where it doesn't matter about the capacity of that day, how quickly they're getting through everyone, you're still going to pick up on that story. They've done a really good job with it.
Yeah. This witch room too, this would have been, if this was the last thing that you saw before you got on the ride, that it would be such a build-up. However, it doesn't end right after her. Then you
No.
keep going through the queue, and we've talked about it in other episodes, and I'm sure everyone's heard by now, there are scare actors in this queue, and that's where you start to come face to face. And, you know, this was... With any character, you could start to hear the screams ahead of you in line.
Well, there was a projection beforehand that you saw and you were afraid of. Remember? Because we were like, oh, there's the scare actor. And then you were like creeping around the corner and then you were like, there's no way out over here. So it was kind of like you have to pay attention to that stuff. Like there was, because it was a recess in the wall and you could see the guy move. I could tell it was a screen, but they couldn't.
Yeah.
It's done very well.
Real.
I just knew it was a screen because of the way it was like you could almost. I was looking at it really hard. That's why.
I think it's because it's really clever. It's kind of almost psychological. What you see, and I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but it's the queue line, you know. You see someone's eyes. That's what you see. You're essentially seeing a pair of eyes, and they're staring right at you. So you don't want to make eye contact back. So you don't initially realize it's just a screen. Because I was like, oh, you know, don't look at me.
Yeah, it takes you a second to
don't
know it's a
scare
face.
me.
Yeah,
you know, it's very well done.
Yeah, no, I like the incorporation of the scare actors in there. It definitely it hyped up that queue. So someone did confirm on Twitter that you weren't here last week, but we were talking about scare actors in the queue, and I had said that I thought there was some in Mummy at some time, and it was confirmed that they were in Mummy at one point. They had actors in Dueling Dragons way back in the day, and now they have it for Kong. I hope it doesn't go away. I liked that native effect in there.
Yeah.
I feel like the way this has been built, it's kind of built to last. I don't think they can take this away now. It feels too permanent when we're walking through.
I hope not. And then the final room that you go into before you get to the actual ride itself then has one of just such a simple little animatronic, but so cool of
really
one of the
cool.
creatures that
Very well done.
in the movie. You'll remember it was the things that ate Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for a movie that came out in 2005.
11 years ago.
But no, it's just a very simple mechanism. It's only the top head that kind of moves out and moves around.
But even then, I was looking at the butt, like the lower part of it, the second half of it, and it had like a little bit of rippling in it. So like there was a little, just enough to be like, it's not, just this one part and the other part's plaster and this part's like a puppet. It was like, it kind of made it feel whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very, very simple in terms of animatronics, but everyone who walked past it was enamored with it. And this is not us overstating. We were worried before we got in line for this ride just because of, you know, the nature of some of the way people were speaking about it and hyping it up. We were concerned. We were saying, okay, which episode are we going to put on this week?
Yeah.
If we don't like Kong, are we going to wait till next week because we want to try to give it another chance, see if maybe we just didn't have a good first experience? But this is all genuine. All of our reactions from it. We're not holding anything back in here with this. So the worm was cool. All the props inside the queue, in the sound effects, everything was just top notch, first rate. I do think. I think I preferred this queue over Gringotts. I think the witch animatronic is so impressive that it's better than the goblins inside Gringotts Bank. While those are very lifelike and realistic, this is like 2.0.
Those pull you. Yeah, they look really great and they're cool and they move and they look at you and they do whatever. This one pulls you into the story, whereas those are more like accents.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not on that Forbidden Journey level for me. You're going through Hogwarts.
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard to beat
Forbidden
that.
Journey. Yeah, because that's kind of like, I'm at this place. Yeah. Like, I'm in this place, and I've always wanted to walk around the halls of the school.
Yeah.
You know?
And this is just another example. I know everyone always makes a big deal about Disney queue lines. And we'll have to do this for like the next Krynos or something. Do queue the best of the queues. Water. Universal is where you go for queues. Yes, there are some bad ones, but Oliver pointed out Mummy, great queue. Men in Black, we always rave about E.T. You have Forbidden Journey, Gringotts, now Kong, Spider-Man. They are, and I'm sure when Hulk reopens, that new queue
Even the
is going to
Transformers
be
queue
killer.
is pretty.
It is, yeah.
It keeps you engaged. They know how to kind of keep you engaged just the right amount. Like you get a little bit here, a little bit here, and it's kind of like the thing that always annoys me about Disney queues, and we'll get into this more, I guess, when we do that show, is I hate how Disney's been here for 45 years, and for some reason they still build queues in the sun. Universal's kind of like, yeah, we know it's hot out. We've been here for 20 years. We figured it out, 25 years. Why don't we build queues that are covered and go inside?
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
They put fans in the queue, too. There were some fans.
Yeah, there were some fans.
It was a little hot the first part, but the majority of where you're going to stand was there, too. We should say, too, so we waited exactly an hour.
Yeah, it was posted 60 minutes, and we were expecting it to be a little bit over posted, but it ended up not being.
I think it felt a little under an hour. It didn't. We were timing, and I got to like 40 minutes though, and I was like, 40 minutes or not. I was like, I'm getting a little tired. But I think 60 minutes is, if the wait time's posted at 60 minutes, do it.
Yeah, for the first time, I will say I won't wait 60 minutes.
I won't wait an hour again.
In this queue again.
40 minutes though?
We're locals.
Yeah,
45 I would, 30 without a doubt.
Yeah.
But again, we are locals. We are blessed with the gift that we don't.
The annual
we have that choice. But if I was doing a one time, I'm going here one day out of the year and it's 90 minutes. No, I can't.
No.
I can't recommend that for anything.
No, I'm not a waiter. I'm not a long waiter. No. I'm always like, at that point you're paying, like, do the money out of how much you're paying per minute, per hour, whatever.
Yeah, that's when you
then
need
you'll
to
be
start.
Like, nope.
You need to start planning properly. Like for whenever I would say that about Forbidden Journey and stuff when that first opened.
Yeah.
You didn't plan right. You should have stayed on property where you got that 1 hour earlier in the morning so that way you could get in there and ride it whenever it was only a 5-minute wait. Mm-hmm. But that's not what we're really here to talk about, whether people are doing things the right way and the wrong way. So now let's get into the actual ride. And well, again, we'll keep this as spoiler-free as possible. The ride, first thing we have to mention with the ride is the ride vehicle itself. The giant, massive Jeeps that we knew that were coming, that were going to be big enough, I believe, to hold 72 people. I seen these things as they go around the track on the outside was cool. They are very impressive. There's animatronics that are actually driving the car. This is a trackless ride system. It is, from what I'm understanding right now, this is why the ride is going up and down so much. They are having technical problems getting the trackless ride system to work really cohesively. But it's once we got on there, it is that Jeep, but it also definitely had a little bit of a simulator feel into it because there was extra movements happening that weren't just normal. And, it felt like an oversized, slower version of an Indiana Jones car. And I loved it. I could have just went on a joyride around in this thing everywhere. It was it was very cool. And we sat towards the back because everything we were hearing was sit towards the back. So that's what we did. So we didn't get a really good view at the animatronic in the front. No one stood up in our car, so we didn't get to hear it say sit down.
I know. All
that good stuff. But we'll get to that eventually at some point. We'll make Oliver stand up. Get him in trouble.
I'm
ejected.
Disposable.
Lose that green card.
There we go. I'm sure that's the first thing they do if you stand up on an attraction.
It absolutely is.
Ejection from the country.
As it should be. But yeah, from what I'm understanding, there's 4 different cars, and that would make sense based on the way I'm counting it, and 4 different drivers in each car. So it's not like the same person. We had the one character in the story that was a native of Skull Island, but now working for the 8th Wonder Expedition and driving around. So it was kind of cool because her spiel was about like, oh yes, I'm taking you to my homeland, and like I don't remember the exact quotes. That's where we need to get. Let's take a pause for a second. Sorry to go all over the place. Let's talk etiquette right now.
Yeah, this is a big deal for me.
First off, people in the queue, in the indoor portion of the queue, I know you want to get a great picture of the witch or just the room itself. Using a flash is not acceptable whenever you're indoors. Every ride you ever go on says no flash photography. Do not take it.
Things are lit a specific way. When you turn the flash on in dark rides like Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, Kong, that you are Harry Potter, you are ruining the aesthetic that was created like things go into a point where they go through and they go, how will the human eye look at this? And it's meant to be seen that way, not with your flash on. And on top of that, you're never going to get a good picture with flash. Ever.
No.
You know, normally as well, if you're always taking photos, I found, and I know it's ironic because it's my job to do it now, but like if you're always taking photos whilst you're on the attraction, you're not enjoying the attraction. You're viewing it through a viewfinder or a digital display. Just put the phone down and the camera down and enjoy it for what it is. And it's so much better when you can actually take it in for what it is.
And honestly, you can take good pictures in low light, but you have to have the right camera for it. I know they're expensive, but that's what it is. If you really want these pictures, and I mean, yeah, these people, the one, I don't want to say it in like a too mean of way, but the ones who are taking these flash pictures on their phones, they, as soon as that phone dies, it's gone forever.
Yeah,
I know they're not backing it up. They're not going to the cloud.
They're not emailing people that photo, you know?
This is going... It's going in a place to die forever, and it's just, you're never going to see it again. Why do you need to waste your time doing it? If you want to look at a picture, wait for someone who's going to post a nice, good picture of it. Don't ruin it with your flash. It is unacceptable. And if you see someone in a queue doing that, please don't.
It happened on the ride, too.
Don't hesitate at all to say, can you not turn your flash on? Just
I always
tell
just
them.
yell out the rule. It says no flash photography.
It's
Oh, you don't speak English? You're an idiot.
If you don't know why,
And then they look at me
this doesn't work.
and I go, you do speak English.
So the problem is, in the witch room in particular, I'll say it again, you enter in from the back of the room. So people will immediately come in, hold their phone straight up in the air, and have the flash on, take a picture. Okay, so what they're going to do is they're going to get light, really bright photos of the back of people's heads, and then the witch all the way at the end of the room is going to be completely dark because people don't understand how a flash works. If you're right up on her, it's going to come up good.
Right.
You're going to see it, except it's also not going to look like it's because it's going to be brightly lit for a second.
And that's the thing. It's a phone. How far do you think light travels? Like the pen light that's in your phone. Also, don't hold it up as a flashlight looking at everything. No. That's not... No.
Yeah,
I was about to say they're the worst. Like when someone takes a photo, I give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say they had the auto setting on and the phone did it.
We've all done it. We've all gone and accidentally taken the photo with the flash.
It's the video people. When they start recording videos, the light stays on and they don't bother to turn it off. Those people should be ejected from the park without refund and never let back in.
No, I agree. I do sometimes. I sometimes turn on my light if it's really dark, but I point it directly at the floor so I can see where I'm walking. I won't point it at the person behind
at a
in
ride,
front of me,
on
just
a ride
on the
like
floor.
Forbidden Journey, not Forbidden Journey, excuse me, like Dragon Challenge, where the queue is not very long ever, and you go really fast into it. Yeah. Sometimes your eyes can't adjust that fast, and so you go into a pitch black room, you can't see. So that's okay. I don't care. You're also one of like 4 people in there. Mm-hmm. The room we were in had 300 people in it,
and every single person
was just. Oh my god!
Was
an idiot.
I think it was literally just us. We were the only people not taking pictures with a flash on.
Yeah, and my pictures came out fine. Yeah, they're low light. Okay, they're not
grainy.
Great.
But,
they're great. Exactly.
You know, but it's also not going anywhere.
Right. It's just for me. It was just for me to show like Eli or something.
What annoys me just as much as the flash photography people are the people that stand on the railings to try and get a better view.
Who are right in the middle.
Already going to go. It goes towards it. You're going to walk right by it. Why do you need that photo right now?
You know who else I hate too? When you do stop to take the photo and the group that's right behind you and they start walking past you and I'm like, where are you going? The other group, there's a little bit of a gap, but it's not like they've just boarded the ride. You can still see them from right here. Like that. Calm down, everybody.
That happened to me so many times because I was taking photos for this.
The group behind us kept trying to go past
walking in front of me. I was like, you're not going to get in front. I'm going to walk around you to rejoin my party.
They're those type of people that are just the worst.
They're special. So, yes, let's get back to the ride. So there are two different ways that
I do have one more ride complaint when we get to the end. Though.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's
you
where
know what one we're going to.
That's where I'm
about.
going into. Okay. We stopped for the complaint. So then the next thing, I can't say that we know every single detail about this ride because for the first 2 minutes of the ride, all I heard were the people in the row behind us.
Okay, and I heard them before we even got in. So what happens when you go to load? There's two lines. It like splits in half. So there's a left line and a right line, and you all come from the same area. And they loaded the left line, and we were in the right line. And when I say line, it probably holds 10 people. Maybe. It's like that deep. It's not a very deep. The split is not very deep. It's just so a team member can stand in the middle, And they loaded the left side maybe they finished loading the left side, and then what I think happened is they loaded in reverse. So they load like one way, and then they go back. So what happened was she loaded the right side, and then loaded the left side, and then loaded the left side, and then went to go to the right side. Oh my gosh. And the people that came up behind us were just the rudest, loudest people ever. One girl in particular that I am so short on my patience lately. I was like going to slap this girl right in her face because she, not only is she throwing out expletives that I'm not one to not swear, but I also am not one to repeatedly swear when there's children around me or like that I'm in a theme park. You know what I mean? When I'm in a crowd, I have some sort of decorum. And so this stupid, trashy girl and her group, they're just like complaining and complaining and complaining. And then we get on the line and then they're complaining to the team member that was super nice guy, very nice guy being like, oh, finally here, right? I know, such a long wait, sympathizing with you. Being like, well, at least it wasn't the 2 hours it was earlier. You guys kind of lucked out a little bit, and and then they get on the ride and they just like like what Craig said. We couldn't hear. I literally couldn't hear the first part of the tour very well. And you turned around and shushed them too, and they finally shut up after a little bit. But
they knew what they were doing. She loved the sound of her own voice, and I turned around whilst we were in the queue. I turned around and I shot her a dirty look.
Yeah.
So she knew what she was doing, and she carried on because she just didn't care.
Yeah, it was her specifically too.
Yeah.
It just like, and then they're the type of people who are going to get off and complain about the ride because they're the type of people who want a Six Flags roller coaster. And we're not here for that. We paid more money for that. We paid more money to have a story. And I want the freaking story. They're the people that text during movies.
She also did complain about the attraction. Did you hear what she was complaining about at the end?
No.
She complained about the length of the attraction. Is it 6 minutes?
It's 6 minutes,
Which is a healthy amount of time for an attraction. That is a really good run time. She wasn't happy with it.
Yeah. But that's the one thing. It is 6 minutes. I'm hearing a lot of complaints from people saying, "Oh, it feels short." You know what? That's the thing, though. Good things usually feel short.
I said that to you when I got off the ride. And I was like, "Oh man, it was really short." And you were like, "That was 6 minutes." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that means that must have been just like really good." And I was just pulled in.
Yeah. There's a reason why people sat through Titanic over and over and over again. Good things.
Oh, were you one of them? Wow.
Yeah, just a couple times.
Wow.
Just a couple times. Hey,
we learned so much.
No, hey, I have said it before. There is a distinct scene why a young boy would
I saw that movie with my grandparents. All the naked ladies I've seen in my life, I've seen with my grandparents, by the way. So that's
reason.
Wow, that's a...
that'll be a chapter in my autobiography.
Yeah. So this ride, it does blend some animatronic effects with a lot of screens. So let's kind of get into the screens. First you go around that outside portion that everyone's been seeing. You go inside. First thing you're met with are some animatronics of some of the creatures on the right.
On the right, yeah.
And
the
then
bats.
And then, the bats. And then on the left is your first screen, which is... We've seen screens...
You're missing something.
I was?
Giant bones.
Oh, yeah, the giant bones.
Those are cool. The big... Because the driver is like, oh, here we have, like, the remains of a...
Yeah,
I forgot what she said specifically because the people behind us are still talking.
Yeah.
But it was really cool looking because there's a giant, like... Kong skull.
It's so cool. And then you encounter the screens.
Yeah, and then
that's
you get to the screen.
where you meet other characters that are at Skull Island. We won't get into all the details of it, but these were short sections. Almost think like Gringotts, where you would stop and pull up beside the screen, and you're watching. You're not moving along with it. You're just watching something happen.
Yeah.
And then that happens again. Then you move around the corner. Another screen, this time on the opposite side. doing the same thing 4D because there are fun water effects that we found out about in this scene too. And just actually really good 3D. I think Oliver, it's the best 3D we've seen.
I think so.
Yeah.
The quality was out of this world. And I know you two had a slightly different experience than I did because I was sitting in.
Well, it wasn't necessarily with the 3D. It was with the position
certain
of
moment.
the screen.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So, do you mean whereabouts I was sitting and?
Yeah, you were no. There was one specific set of screens that we will get to next, but you did have a good position.
I did.
In the first two screens, it wasn't bad for me.
No. I didn't see any of that in the first two screens. Yeah. And I want to point out the first thing I thought we came up to the first scene, and it's in a tunnel. I don't want to go into description, but we've talked about that scene on the show, maybe. If not, you showed it me. They released this part of the ride.
The bats flying.
Yeah, the bats flying through, and we were both like, oh, it doesn't look like, it looks a little hokey. But when you're there,
but in 3D, it looks perfect.
It actually was like, wow, okay, that was it was actually the depth of what you're getting in the 3D, and not comical Muppets 3D. It's like actual the way that you would think 3D should be used.
Yeah, but there was stuff also coming at you that was, from my position being all the way over on one side of the car, the 3D actually looked like it was coming into the car.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. What's cool is the car actually had these like lines, or like a grate, like
it was like
rails, like little thin black ones. But one of the first 3D effects flew through it, and it wasn't like, oh, the lines through it. That thing was in the car, like it had flown in, and it's in the car in front of you. And I don't know if somebody just was like, I'm going to test this out and see if this will work, because that's how our brains perceive 3D. Is that because the way your eyes are focusing on that thing, you don't actually know that. You know what I mean? It messes with your depth, and it's just a genius. Like somebody used a practical, used the knowledge of how your eyes focus to mess with it.
Yeah. So, and then in the final scene with screens, that is where you get to 360. I have to apologize. In the past, I was under the understanding that this was going to be a completely surround you experience, like a dome, and that's what they were doing to upgrade it. It's not. It is the same style of 360 video that is on the tram tour, and a lot of the video is the exact same. Some differences, just to fit along with the storyline of this attraction, the start, and then some of the creatures and stuff as well in the video. So it's not the exact same thing, and it is 3 minutes of the 6-minute ride, but it didn't feel out of place being in there. And again, they added those 4D effects in too. At one point, I literally got slapped in the face with water. It hurt. The water shot me in the face so hard, it genuinely hurt for a second. It stung. It was just kind of cool. And that's where I want to go in here with just real briefly on the whole. Why didn't they make this more about practical effects? Why didn't they do less screens and more real things? This could not have been. I don't care if Disney would have tried to make it.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been made without using screens. No. It couldn't have told the story in the same way.
It's funny that you said that too, because there was a specific part in the ride, and it might have been right there, around that area that we're at right now, where I thought to myself, this is when people get on Universal about that, but I'm like, this is what they do, and they do so well. And it's not like, oh, this is what they do, but I was so impressed, because you'll be in there and you'll notice the amount of space this attraction takes up, and you should be impressed with what they've built in the space they have. And that's not even a thing that would normally cross somebody's mind, because you never feel like that. But knowing where it was and what they've been, you know what I mean? Yeah. Having been there before and seen the land that was there before, they have squished this thing here, but doesn't feel little. It feels massive. Yeah. And the screens, there was one part where I was just looking down and I was just like, wow, I see real cave wall. I see real stuff here, and then I see the 3D, and I'm just like, this is the way it should be. Yeah.
And I don't want to see a crappy Sigourney Weaver type looking character there that's barely moving and telling me this. It works in a slow paced attraction, but you have to have screens to be able to achieve the type of storytelling that they are using on this ride. And I mean, they could have went through where it was just, you see stuff like Indiana Jones, where you don't, you might see one or two animatronics that are very motionless, and then it's more about seeing what's happening around you. Another good example is like Dinosaur in Animal Kingdom. That you see some of these things moving around you, but it's all very static in a sense. And that works, but there's also narration behind those saying what's happening. This is putting you in the middle of a story. Disney is so well known for their storytelling, but it's almost like a story is unfolding and we're gonna let you see it from the outside. Where Universal, I feel like they try to put you into the story.
Well, that's what I've always said too. Yeah, Universal has always felt to me like I've stepped through a screen. And I'm now in, like, it's a Last Action Hero situation. I have ripped that ticket, and I am in the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, the final practical effect, the final animatronic, the King Kong animatronic, we've seen glimpses of it. This is the best animatronic.
I wanted to touch it.
In Orlando. It's the best animatronic I've ever seen anywhere. I don't think I ever got to see the Yeti work correctly on Expedition Everest. I might have once, but with how it was always flashing and you're going by so quickly, you never really, I don't think anyone could ever really truly tell how fluid it was. But this Kong, the way its head moves, its eyes, the expression on its face, the way that its eyebrows are moving up and down, just in the sheer size of it, this thing is massive. It's larger than the car you're in, and just look at the car from the outside. That's how big it is. It's really Universal's. It's their crown achievement, building this animatronic.
The one thing I'll say about the animatronic that it disappointed me slightly is on the original Kong attraction that they had at Universal, when you used to go by on the cable car, because that's what it was themed to, you could smell bananas when off of Kong, and I was like, oh, they're gonna do it. It seems like it's something they're definitely gonna do to stay true to the original, and I didn't smell bananas.
I did hear one person though say that they did smell it, I think at one point, so I don't know if they're getting to that point.
It could have been my nostrils.
I don't know if it's an effect they don't have working yet, but I think they're gonna get to it. It was so impressive. It was so cool. I chose my seat specifically. I knew it was going to be on that side closest to it. Sorry, I didn't give it to one of you guys, but
I want to talk about that. No, I wanted to be in the middle. I was going to get scared.
Yeah.
The motion sickness aspect of it. So I was a little worried because we did this spur of the moment, and so I was concerned it was going to be. I didn't take my Dramamine or anything like that. And there was only one part, and I think, Oliver, you said you felt it too, is the part when it is all around you, because there is like the tussle, the fight, like involves the cart kind of coming off the ground a little bit. And so there is a moment where I was like, it made me feel it just a little bit right there. So if you are somebody and you've gone and you've forgotten and you're already in line and you don't want to go get it at first aid, maybe just when you get in that room, close your eyes. The other 3D was fine. All the 3Ds where the screen, like it's you're in a stopped car and you're like talking to another stopped car, like that. Those are fine. It's just once it's the perceived motion, that's when it started to get a little. I'd say the rest of it's very enjoyable.
I'd say it's only slightly on the more travel sickness or motion sickness side than Gringotts. It's only slightly worse.
I always judge
that,
it like, could my mom do it? And I think I could get my mom on here and just tell her to close her eyes for that part.
Yeah.
Overall though, the movement of the Jeep, it's very well done, perfect,
especially for the size.
The practical effects, including that Kong animatronic. Anyone, if I ever hear anyone hating on that Kong animatronic, I might slap them. If they say anything Disney did or does is better than that one, I will fight them on it. Yeah, not physically. I will verbally fight you on it, and then I will slap you, and we will duel.
With a white glove.
I choose swords always. S words, my favorite thing.
Sword fighter.
I prefer it, but I know where your mind was going there, but.
To a good rapier.
It's just, and granted, I haven't seen the stuff coming out of Shanghai. I haven't seen that in person. I know that everyone's saying that impressive. At least domestically, it is the best thing that has been created. It's brilliant. Yes, I wish they could have gone a little bit more original and not just rehashed pretty much all of the Kong 360 aspect. But Universal was also able to get a ride that was slightly unique and original in a shorter amount of time because it was able to borrow that aspect.
Well, I respect
would
it
rather
for pulling
see-
back,
yeah.
like taking that story, but then pulling, because on the tram ride, you just kind of go in and it's the tram person. Like, I respect it because they did take that and they built around it.
Yeah.
So it was almost like, it's impressive in that, it's like a retrofitted, so so ours is better than theirs.
Yeah. No, it is.
It is.
And there is a great story in this. Don't get me wrong. I love a lot of the classic attractions over at Disney, including stuff like Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion, where there is that backstory to it that isn't completely like just right on the. It's not right on the level. You have to like think about it. You have to know. You have to look for the clues. You have to hear what Imagineers have talked about in the past, and that will tell the story. But with this, it's You also don't need all of that, and that's what I enjoy. You're thrown into the story with how it's all set up. This is just another shining example. Yes, it's using screens, but as long as Universal is using screens the correct way. I don't care if they're using them.
Right.
I would rather see this and then a bunch of animatronic dwarfs in Mine Train moving around with video projections on their face. That literally that ride has no story to it. That was we need to build a fun family themed attraction.
Yeah.
I would rather do this where you are getting into it. That's why we pay the money. If you just want some bells and whistles thrown into a crap attraction, go to a normal amusement park,
right,
and go ride the normal thing. This is the type of attraction you can only get at one of these theme parks,
and they stay very true to the tone too. That's what I really appreciated about it. Is it's not like by having it with the screens and all that stuff. Like what you said, it's paced. The pace, they stay into that. I was scared, not scared, like, oh gosh, I'm going to fall off this ride, but, scared in the moment where I'm like, oh, this is thrilling, and I respect them for taking that. And because it's scary, not everybody's going to be able to do this. Little kids are probably going to be a little scared on this. Maybe they won't be. I don't know.
Yeah. Just to put it out there as well, I was waiting around for you two to join me at Universal, and I was just scouting the place out, just checking out the attraction from the outside, because it is so impressive from the outside. And the team members there, they are being very, very persuasive in not allowing people to take their very young children on there. There was one guy, and he said it in about 5 different ways. This is too intense for the child you want to take on there. Even though they meet the height requirement, you probably shouldn't be taking your young child on this. Granted, the parent did it anyway, and I'm sure the parents always know best. But it is intense. Whilst we were in line, we seen a young girl. I'd say she was about 6 or 7, and she was in tears. So it's definitely at your parents' discretion, definitely.
Yeah. But overall, I think this is a perfect addition to Universal Orlando as a whole. I think it is going to remain very popular for a very, very long time. It's a very nice homecoming for Kong. I'm sad I never got to ride the original attraction, so I don't have that. I don't have that sentimentality going into it. Like I said, though, I still can't recommend waiting more than 60 minutes for this ride. That's my opinion. If you're smart at planning, you won't have to, but if you start waiting 75, 90 minutes, 2 hours for any attraction, there is no way you're going to walk away feeling like you got your
full day.
I can't even say that about Forbidden Journey anymore. Maybe like the first when it
first opened, I waited like the 90 minutes.
But that was also
I was only there for that.
Yeah.
I wasn't there to experience the rest of the park. I was there because I wanted to be in Hogwarts at the school. You know what I mean? So that's, if you're coming just for Kong and you're going to wait as long as you want, that's fine.
The thing I'd say about the wait time is I enjoyed the queue that much that if it was an hour and the hour started from inside, that's where I'd join the queue, because we actually don't know where you would be placed at an hour because of the way they structured the queue for the soft opening.
The queue wasn't how
different.
It was normally going to be.
Yeah, so if that hour starts at the inside bit, so you're in the air conditioning and you're immersed in that amazing queue, I'd definitely wait an hour because I just enjoyed the queue experience so much. So
yeah. No, I highly recommend this. Definitely get out there and check it out as soon as you can. I don't know if I would say aren't planning on going, that this is worth changing your mind and getting over here. I would say Diagon Alley. That's one of those things that I would put on the level of change your mind. Come over here for that.
Yeah.
This is just another attraction, but it's another really well done attraction that was built in a very short amount of time and is just another great effort by Universal, and the people who work there are proud of it. They should be. I think it has a lot of different aspects that come together to make it a very great ride, and you will see me in line for it in the future quite a bit. I have a feeling. Of course, as long as it's 30 minutes and under.
Yeah.
God, I'm just so lazy at this point anymore. Hey, time is money.
Spoiled.
I hear it all the time. I tell it to you guys too. Time is money. I'm losing money if I'm wasting my time. And that's how it is.
That is a workaholic
That is
mentality.
the way the cookie crumbles.
That's the way it is.
Things will never be the same.
That's the way it is.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So thank you
Soft
guys.
jams today.
I'm so glad we got to go out and experience it last night together as a group. That was a lot of fun. Thank you all for sitting here. And
I don't want any comments about how much I was touching my face that whole episode, too.
yeah,
I did notice. I thought it was something I was doing wrong.
No, it's just I'm being nervous, and it's...
I don't know about
wanna hear
anybody else, but when I think of... No, not going there. Austin Powers.
Yeah. The Jubblies.
The Jubblies. Machine gun started coming out the Jubblies.
Okay, I believe you.
Oh, gosh. We are living in the 90s.
That song came on the radio for me last week, and you have no idea how excited I was.
I bet.
I raised the radio right on up.
I bet. Again, everyone out there, thank you. Thank you for putting up with us through this. Ran a little long, so sorry about that if you had places to be, but it's your choice for sitting here and actually paying attention to all of it. If you need any information for anything we talked about, the link to the Orlando United, which I can't remember the official title, but the GoFundMe.
Yeah, sorry, we have like 7 hashtags right now, so it gets a little. He's not being disrespectful or anything, but the outreach has been so massive that it's hard to.
It's hard to keep track
remember
of
which name is which one. Everybody's just trying to help everybody, and
I know there's the One Orlando Fund. I think it's Orlando United.
Yeah, there's Orlando
one.
United is one.
That is one. I see it on
Because they've
the way
released
home.
like
They put
shirts
it
and
on the
stuff
thing.
from that
Yeah,
one.
I've seen Orlando United as well. And Orlando Strong.
But I think
Orlando Strong.
Orlando
that's
Strong's
it.
the main one. That was the first
That's
one.
the main one. Okay, that's the one. That's the one we're linking to, the Orlando Strong on GoFundMe. So we'll have that link. And then, of course, in our show notes page, you'll be able to find links to all of our other shows, Disney World Edition, Diz Pop, whenever Rhino decides to do it, Dreams Unlimited Travel, Disneyland, all of them. They're all on there. You'll be able to contact us through there as well to make sure you're liking our Facebook, our Twitter, all of our social medias on everything we do, as well as ours, if you so choose to do so. And just leave us comments, feedback. We'll get around to it. We do look. We always look. Whether or not we choose to respond, that's different, but we do look, and that should be enough deep down in all of your hearts. So thank you guys so much, and we will be back with you next week for another edition of the Diz Unplugged. But remember, until then, resolutions. Kong is universal.